Warren Buffett talk about index funds and just no-load mutual funds, as they call them, where they don't charge any fees and they just attach your money to an index. And he basically says that a lot of times when you do a lot of what they call what they call active investing, that you're he believes you're wasting your time. He actually believes that the best way to really grow your money long term is just put it in an index fund and let it grow. Just don't touch it, don't mess with it, let it grow. And what's really interesting to me is that this is a really straightforward pathway to wealth. This is not complicated. It's not hard. It's not, it's not some sort of wild manifestation of wealth. It's just something that happens very naturally by you simply putting a small amount of money into that fund. And we were doing the math yesterday, and I think it was something like if you put the same amount of money that into an index fund that you put into your car note, let's say $400 a month, in a decade you have roughly $70,000 in wealth. And so within a decade, you're not poor anymore. But yet you'll have somebody that'll pay their car note consistently for 20 years and stay poor. So effectively what that's doing is that's sort of a wasted opportunity. And so let me find the claymation video and we can kind of get started there. And then I'll answer some of your questions. Okay. So give me one second. All right. So let's see here. I'm trying to get my bearings right so I can share this with you guys. All right, so here we go. All right, so I keep up usually like 3 or 4 screens and stuff like that. And it's Saturday morning, and I feel like I have a hangover from last night because it was so wild. I mean, we even watched a Diddy video. How crazy is that? All right, so here it is. All right, so let me share my screen and let me know if you can see in here what I play. Give me a yes if you can hear it. I'm gonna play it right now. This is Claymation Boyce. Be ready. He cusses. I tell him to stop cussing, but he doesn't care. He doesn't listen to me. So here we go. The three, two, one, and go. What the fuck is the difference between index funds and individual stocks? Think of index funds like a giant buffet. You get a little bit of everything. If one dish sucks, no big deal. You've still got 49 others on your plate. It's safe, it's boring, and it works for most people who don't want to babysit their money every day. Individual stocks? That's like ordering one single dish and praying it's not trash. If you pick Apple and it blows up, you look like a genius. If you pick some random next big thing stock and it tanks, congratulations, you just bought an expensive piece of nothing. Index funds let you ride the whole market. You're not trying to outsmart Wall Street, you're just letting the economy do the heavy lifting. With individual stocks, you're basically gambling unless you know exactly what the hell you're doing. So here's the truth. If you want excitement, go buy lottery tickets and call it a day. If you want wealth, keep it boring, diversify, and let time make you rich. I'm Little Claymation Dr. Boyce, and guess what? I don't give a fuck. I love you, and I'll see you next time. All right, so let's watch that again, just so we can take it in and understand index funds. And then I'm going to talk about this for a second. Here we go. What the fuck is the difference between index funds and individual stocks? Think of index funds like a giant buffet. You get a little bit of everything. If one dish sucks, no big deal. You've still got 49 others on your plate. It's safe, it's boring, and it works for most people who don't want to babysit their money every day. Individual stocks? That's like ordering one single dish and praying it's not trash. If you pick Apple and it blows up, you look like a genius. If you pick some random next big thing stock and it tanks, congratulations, you just bought an expensive piece of nothing. Index funds let you ride the whole market. You're not trying to outsmart Wall Street, you're just letting the economy do the heavy lifting. With individual stocks, you're basically gambling unless you know exactly what the hell you're doing. So here's the truth. If you want excitement, go buy lottery tickets and call it a day. If you want wealth, keep it boring, diversify, and let time make you rich. I'm Little Claymation Dr. Boyce, and guess what? I don't give a fuck. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Okay, so did everybody get that? Were you able to hear that? Let me know if that made sense to you. All right, so someone says he needs to cuss a little bit more. All right, so and I'll keep talking to him. He don't listen to me, but I keep telling him you got to stop cussing because you're gonna offend people. But he don't care. Anyway, so with that said, Little Claymation Boyce had a good point. He was basically saying that the biggest mistake people make when it comes to investing is they tend to overthink it, and then what happens is you end up missing out on a lot of wealth. And really causing a lot of pain for yourself when you don't budget in your future. You can't go in and budget in the landlord, budget in the cell phone company, budget in the car note, but not budget you and budget your family. You have to put that in your budget too. because whatever you don't invest in is not going to do very well. If you don't invest in your future, then you won't really have one. And so what I really want you to do is to just, understand part of B1 philosophy doesn't just mean black first, it means you first. It means your family first. So that means that really when I say $400 a month toward your investment portfolio, I'm really saying do whatever you can. You want to be an aggressive investor, you have to identify yourself as an investor. You can't look at it as something that you're doing that's out of character. No, it's completely in character because you prepare for the future. That's part of your core value system. That's just exactly who you are. And you know, if you kind of look at that if you the sort of the top bills that Americans pay and the average cost. I grabbed that and I put it up and I want to show you sort of what people are paying money with. So number one is the mortgage. The average mortgage in America is $1,402. Number two is rent. That's 1,300. Rent and mortgage are different. Three is auto loans. That's $496 a month. So let's make that a $500 a month investment, right? Match your car note. Utilities are 362. Auto insurance is $209. Cable and internet $122. So if people just invested as much as they put in their cable bill, they would be financially secure in about a decade or so. Mobile phone, $121. Health insurance, 114. Well, you need that. That's important. Life insurance, $87. Make sure you get that. That's important. And so they have also alarm and security, which some of you spend money on that, some of you don't. That's $85 a month. And so I know that things are expensive, but at the end of the day, this is something that you can't afford to skip. And if you want to get an assessment of how much money you'd be expected to have in terms of your family after 10, 20, and 30 years, this is easy, simple, straightforward proof that if you put as much money into, say, an index fund as you put into the pocket of your car dealer, so you can drive that raggedy car that's going to end up being worthless in 5 or 10 years, after 10 years of investment in a mutual fund, you'd have roughly $70,000, give or take a few thousand. 20 years, you're up to 219,000. Now you're officially rich. Now, from 20 years of sacrifice, you're considered rich. And now I want you to think about how many people get up and go to work and they'll work 8 or 9 hours a day for 20 straight years and still be poor after 20 years. Putting $400 a month into an index fund is not nearly as hard as working 8 or 9 hours a day. And so basically, after 20 years of consistent investing at that level, the same amount you put in your car note, you're already rich. You got almost $250,000 or over 200,000. 30 years, you're up to 500,000. 40 years, you have over $1 million. So in one generation, 40 years, which would be the difference between 1985 and 2025, your family is now a $1 million family. You're not just millionaires, you're cash money liquid millionaires. Those are two different types of millionaires. Paper millionaires are not the same as liquid millionaires. Liquid millionaires actually have $1 million in cash. Paper millionaires have $1 million on paper. That's a very different reality. Most paper millionaires have a very hard time even coming up with $100,000. But if you're a liquid millionaire, then you've got $1 million, which can actually be leveraged into much more money if you actually borrowed against that. All right, now let's see here. Now the recap of last night's lessons, Christian. You can get that actually. I'll send that link to you guys if you want to get a recording of everything. We covered the wealth pyramid. That's the general recap is that we covered wealth strategies for different wealth levels. If you're below 10,000, there's a strategy. 10,000 to 100,000, there's a strategy. 100,000 to a million, there's a strategy. A million to 10 million, 10 million to 100 million, 100 million and beyond. So yeah, so that's what we covered, and it was fun. It took about 3 hours. It was pretty heavy deep dive, but we sort of took breaks and I picked some crazy music and like ain't nothing going on but the rent and money, power, respect. That song with Little Kim. I think it's Little Kim that I really love in DMX. And so it's kind of funny to me how we have so many songs about money. Money is really, like just this part of the culture. Everybody talks about money. And I still don't understand why everyone talks about money so much, but nobody actually like, or not to say nobody, but not many people actually take the time to learn the thing they're so obsessed with. Like, if something's that important to you, then you should study it. Like my wife is important to me. Being married is important to me, so I study my wife. Being a father is important to me, so I study the kids. I wanna listen and learn when somebody's explaining how to deal with crazy teenagers, right? My health is important to me, so I study my health. I learn how to, make sure I eat certain things and work out in certain ways and all this other stuff, right? So study the things that you need to learn. Don't just study stuff because somebody put it in front of you. Next question. Do you think it's worth it to buy PLT or Palantir at this time? Asked Gina. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I can say that I like Palantir. I own it. I'm not buying anymore right now, but I do own it. So yeah, and when I buy stock, I buy it long term. So that's not invested advice, but I do own Palantir. When will the replay be available? Give me 48 hours and I'll get it ready in less than 48 hours. What part of the ABC are you looking to forward to the most? Well, the All Black National Convention, which is where all the B1 Black First people get together. It's the largest gathering of intelligent Black people on the planet. Basically, it's going to be next week, August 21st to the 24th. And don't forget, we have that Sunday. Don't, so stick around to Sunday. Sunday's going to be packed. We got a whole bunch of stuff on Sunday. We're partnering with the National Business League. They're only going through till Saturday, but all the people from the Black Business School, we created a special day just for Black Business School students and those who want to stay an extra day and network and learn. I mean, we're covering everything from stock options, stock market stuff, economic elevation, real estate. We've got experts lined up for the entire day. So it's not just the experts, it's also the networking. And like I said, we're sold out for this year. But also the tickets for next year's convention are going to go on sale right afterward. It's going to be in Brooklyn, and I'll go ahead. Now the thing is, if you get your tickets early, it's a trade-off. One, you can get them for half price, the early, super early bird price. But then secondly, we don't have the exact date nailed down because we have to negotiate with the hotel. But we can tell you what month it's going to be. That's what we're going to be able to do. But we can't give the specific date because we have to make sure we talk to the hotel. So the other thing about the convention that I love the most, and I love the people. I love getting a chance to be in the same room with people that lift my spirit. I like being around people that pour into each other and Black people that love each other. It reminds me of the potential of who we're supposed to be. It reminds me of who we really are. Like I turn on the internet and I see on Instagram Black people just getting shot up. I don't know if you saw that guy who was doing a Facebook Live in his car and he gets shot during the Facebook Live. And then there's like something else about a mass shooting somewhere else. And then there's like, oh, well, look at what Trump is doing to Black people in DC. And everything is just sad and chaotic. And it's like, oh my God, it's another day of being miserable and Black. And that affects your mental health. And so I encourage you to be careful about how you consume that sort of information and content because it can make people depressed and frustrated and make you want to give up. And so when you go to the convention, what happens is without a doubt, you walk away and your battery's charged up. You walk away and you're ready. You're ready for anything. And because you understand that all the things that seem so hard are really not as hard as you think, and that there are solutions out there. And if you bring together the brain trust, if you bring together the think tank of people that can solve problems, then amazing things can happen. If Dr. Umar Johnson had gathered the smartest Black people in America and organized everybody to get his school done, he would have built 100 schools by now. But it's 12 years later, and he's still talking about one school. And one school is not going to fix anything in the Black community. One school is one school. You want to have hundreds of schools, or you want to educate thousands of people, not just a few people in one place, right? White people don't have one school. White people have probably 50,000 schools. They have thousands of universities, each of which have an endowment of at least $500 million or more. Those are their tiny schools. Their small schools have $1 billion endowment. Their larger ones are as much as 50, $60 billion. So you have to have a systematic approach to things where you're bringing all the smartest, best, and brightest to the table with good intentionality. This is where all those soft skills start to really matter. It's not just about what you know, it's what kind of person you are. It's not just how much money you have, it's how you relate to other people. It's not just whether or not you're powerful, it's whether or not you're transferring power and empowering people around you, or if you're oppressing people around you. So this is why with wealth building, you cannot talk about building wealth without talking about all of the other components that come with the mindset of the wealth builder. Do you understand? If I have a mindset that is expansive, that is systematic, that is mutually supportive, that looks for win-win opportunities, that connects with others in a meaningful way, I can do so much more. It's literally unlocking a superpower. You're multiplying your capabilities by really thinking carefully about, okay, I have this power, I have this ability. How do I work that? How do I make that work out well with others? And that requires you to overcome that's why we talk about the trauma stuff, because if you're traumatized, you're going to approach the world in a way that is not healthy. You're bringing sickness, your mental illness into the world, and then you're gonna only re-traumatize each other. Traumatize people. Traumatization is like a vampire movie where traumatized people, they bite they bite a healthy person, and then that person's traumatized, and then they go and they traumatize somebody else. And so effectively, in the All Black National Convention, the energy is super positive because we don't just talk about the wealth part. We talk about everything connected to the wealth, the mental health, the relationships. You can't build wealth if you have horrible relationships that stress you out and your mental health is all jacked up and you're hurting people and doing terrible things and angry all the time and you have no self-confidence, and how are you going to build wealth? And if you get any wealth, you're going to lose it. You're going to throw it away because you don't have the mindset to protect and preserve what you have. So you got to work on the whole package. That's my point. Or like if you think about wealth all the time and you work your butt off and then you destroy your physical health while doing it, well, it won't matter. You're going to give all your wealth right back to the medical system. They're going to say, here's a pill. They're $1,000 a piece, and you got to go start buying pills. And next thing you know, all your money's gone because you're sick in a nursing home that's charging you $12,000 a month or something, and all the wealth that you built your whole life is being drained out of your pocket. Do you understand? So that mental health, physical health, relationships, and wealth, they're all connected. If one of those areas is sick, it's going to infect the other areas. If somebody is doing well in their career and they have a horrible marriage, it's going to affect their career. It's going to affect their money because divorce is one of the biggest wealth killers out there. The average divorcee loses 70% of everything they have. And in a worst case scenario, I told you I know more than one person who was doing really well in their career who ended up being killed by their spouse. So you're flying in your career, you're making money, you got it all together professionally, but your mental health and your relationships are not healthy. And then next thing you know, you choose somebody in your life. I can literally point to three times where I know unfortunately, it's black women. Like I know three black women who were murdered by their spouse, and every single one of these women was kicking ass professionally, had all the degrees, all the credentials, $100,000 in the bank account, just on top of everything, right? And we make that mistake of believing that if you are on top of your life professionally, that you're winning in everything. No, you're not winning in everything. You're winning professionally. You're winning economically, but you may not be winning emotionally. You may have baggage that's causing you to make bad decisions in relationships because you never dealt with, maybe the trauma of losing your father when you were four or whatever. So now you got some thug that you're sleeping with. And in each case, the three cases I'm thinking about, one was a professor, one was Robin Simpson, who was the head of our Delta Sigma Theta chapter in Houston. She was B1. She came to the convention, a very successful woman. And then the third one was a woman who ran a business and she made $6 million a year. In Robin's case, and I loved Robin, so this is I have to be really careful to talk about this because this case just happened a year and a half ago. You can look it up. In Robin's case, her husband showed significant red flags before he stabbed her 100 times in front of her daughter. So there were warning signs, and maybe for whatever reason, I don't know what was going on, but for whatever reason, she stuck with something that really shouldn't have been stuck with. And now, now her daughter has no mother, and she has a father in prison. In the case of the professor, this was a woman who was doing really well in life. She was succeeding and winning, and she passed the bar exam and was like an award-winning professor, like that good. And her husband, unfortunately, was a guy who was trying to be a lawyer, but he failed the bar exam 4 or 5 times. And then he also kind of became petty and jealous and insecure and all these other things. And lo and behold, unfortunately, he killed her and then killed himself. And they had two children under the age of 5. So now those two kids are growing up without parents. And then the third lady ran the business. She was making $6 million a year, and I know these stories in intricate detail. And and the man that she dated was he worked for her. He was a former drug addict slash felon who had cleaned himself up. At least that was the appearance, or that was the impression she had, and they were doing fine until he got re-triggered, and I think he lost his job or something, or no, he started a business. His business failed, and so he started to lean on her and her business and asking her to do things she didn't want to do it, and eventually it became too much, so she tried to leave, and he asked her to have one last meeting at the house, and she came to the meeting, and he pulled out a gun. She ran away. He chased her. She got into the car. He shot her as she was driving away, and then she died. So what I'm saying to you is that the theme here, and I'm not judging anybody's situation. Things happen to people, but the theme is that sometimes, unfortunately, in this crazy world that you live in, it's not enough for you to figure it out yourself. You have to figure it out so well that you're strategic in terms of just who you even allow into your life. If you have a lot to lose and you have people in your life that have nothing to lose, then that's going to be a problem for you. And you also cannot just think that, okay, because I've got everything figured out over here, that means I'm just this all around amazing person. I see that all the time where people will say, of course, I'm a great catch for a relationship. I have a master's degree, I look good, and I have money in the bank. Get out of here with that stuff. What kind of person are you? Are you able to make healthy decisions in your life? You know, I knew this funny thing that there's this family I knew where they had these daughters. They were raised real heavy religious, like super religious, like hyper Pentecostal, and like real strict environment. So what happened was, because they were raised in this really extreme environment, they gained this fascination for like the thug culture. So these goody two shoes girls, they were all like, they were so smart that three of them were valedictorians at the same high school. That's how amazing it was, like with his family academically. But when you looked at the types of men that they dated, it was like, what the hell? Looks like the Twilight Zone. They would date guys that would like commit serious crimes. Like these men did terrible things to them. It was crazy. So they all became babies' mamas. A bunch of them did, and they had these guys in their life that one of them, did like a rape and a murder or something, and it was just crazy. One of them was on America's Most Wanted, literally, and and so it's kind of like we all have these little crutches. That's my point. We have these little crutches that can cause us to, because of the unresolved trauma or the inability to really process and understand who we are or where our blind spots are, it can just kind of mess everything up. That's my point, right? If I'm a man and I don't know how to pick the right kind of woman to support what I'm trying to do economically, then that's going to kind of mess things up, right? I make a little bit of money now. Suddenly, all the girls that didn't like me before are attracted to me. So I go pick the prettiest girl I can find, and she happens to be a gold digger. So she comes in and just digs through my bank account and leaves me broken, destitute, and hurt and angry or whatever. So that balance, I would say, is something that you really want to figure out. And the best way to go down that important rabbit hole is through things like therapy. Also, getting up every day and exercising as if that's your job. You have to do those things, because if you don't take care of your physical health, then your wealth will disappear. So capitalism does a lot of this. Capitalism will sell you the donuts at the front of the grocery store and then sell you diabetes medication in the back. They love to put dialysis centers in black neighborhoods because they know that black people love processed food, fast food, all these other things. And they know that dialysis is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So they're like, yeah, eat this processed food. We're going to make money selling you cheeseburgers and liquor and fried chicken. And then when you get sick, just come back to us and we'll give you dialysis and we'll make more money that way too. So just be mindful of this. All right, so let me answer a couple more questions. Let's see here. Let's see, David, Dallas, does the Prime membership come with coaching? No, it can't come with the price point. Can't justify one-on-one coaching. I don't even do one-on-one coaching. I just don't have the time for that. Um, but we do have, every now and then we'll have these small group VIP sessions where everybody will pay something like $250. It'll be like four of us in a room for like 3 hours, and you get to tell me about what you're doing, and I can talk you through it and stuff like that. Also, we have the mastermind, which is a higher price point, and that has, I think, right now the mastermind has about 12 people in it, and so you have to apply for that though. You have to make sure you're ready because the conversations are about more sophisticated wealth strategies and at a higher capital base. So everybody that joins the mastermind, you have to have at least $50,000 in your capital base. And then because what we talk about are bigger sorts of things and private equity deals and stuff like that. So if that's of interest to you and you want to apply for the mastermind, you can go to drboycewin.com, WIN, drboycewin.com, and feel free to apply. All right. And so anyway, I'm gonna make this class relatively short. I know yesterday we went hard last night, and I'm pretty tired. So I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out, and I'll get the recording for last night's financial slumber party together, and I'll send that out to you. And also, just a reminder, don't forget we've got all different kinds of flashcards and workbooks for your kids. So if you want to teach your kids about wealth, you can go to financialflashcards.com. We got flashcards on real estate, flashcards on my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. We got flashcards on how to invest in the stock market. And as you know, one of the rules of B1 culture is that your kids should not be learning about wealth when they are 30, 40 years old. They should be learning about that when they're 3 or 4 years old. Nicole, are we having the B1 ball this year? Yeah, if you have the VIP ticket, you can get actually no, not even the I think yeah, even actually everybody who bought a pass for this convention will be at the ball. It's not called the B1 ball. I'll be a co-host. So we're really partnering this year because we wanted to do something epic and big and make Black history. This is our 10th year for the National Business League. It's their 125th year. And they were started by Booker T. Washington. And so we just decided let's do something a little bit bigger, right? 5,000 people of great, extraordinary wealth builders all gathered together. So it's going to be pretty huge. Next year we go back to our regular model. Our regular model is typically I don't aim for thousands of people to come to the convention. I don't even invite everybody to the ABNC. I invite people that understand what B1 culture is about, what it really means, what we're really trying to do. I don't even, I think there's a time where it's like, okay, there's a time to talk to people that are thinking about taking action, that are introduced to this idea versus people that kind of are already in there. They're like, okay, let's activate, let's make a move. We already understand the assignment. I like to preach to the choir. I like mobilizing those who already get it. There's another space where you're convincing those who don't get it, right? Because unfortunately, we have certain parts of Black culture that have just become incredibly toxic, horrifically unproductive, backward as hell, just not really getting the job done. And the thing is that the solutions to these problems are very, very easy, but unfortunately, people aren't encouraged to have that growth. They're more encouraged to sit around and complain about how bad it is to be oppressed and what white people are doing to us and all that. But then there are some people, some of you, a lot of you don't feel oppression hardly at all because you get up and you do whatever you want to do. You have an understanding of exactly like I talk about these wealth principles, and I'm like, oh, it's easy to have wealth. Just do this and this. And then you do it, and then you're like, oh, now I have money now. But yet you go outside and you hear the world telling you how hard it is and how impossible it is for a Black person to have any form of financial security. And I just reject all that. So there are spaces where, like the convention, that I consider to be sacred. Like this space is sacred. If people want to come in here, you have to either understand what the assignment is or you have to at least be open to learning. You come in here and you learn. Don't come in here telling us where all this stuff is wrong and stupid or whatever. Like, okay, if you want to go be a communist, go do that. No disrespect to that, right? If you want to go and march and pray and hope for the best, and then go do that. I'm here for action. I'm here to tell you what's going to work. There are strategies that do work. There are communities that have figured it out. And so at this point, it's just a matter of executing and making sure that we understand the nuances of exactly what to do. Okay. All right. So let's see. Next question. I see one more question. Oh, you already asked about the B1 ball. Okay. Yeah. Are we on the Hoover app? Yeah. You should be on the Hoover app for the convention. Let me text and make sure that you're on there, Nicole. I believe that everybody's on there by now. If not, then I'm gonna get on that right away. So keep asking me about it. We'll get this done. All right. So anyway, have a good day, everybody. God bless you. And let's see. Jen says it didn't work for me. What didn't work for you? Tell me what didn't work for you because I want to know what didn't work for you. Um, Access to the app. Okay. Well, I'm going to check into that right away. I'll get on that right now. All right. So anyway, have a good day, everybody. God bless you, and I will see you all. If I don't see you before tomorrow.